you go see blood. And if you squeeze me, you go feel the love. We are one people under the sun, one nation under the law. So who feel the black? Who feel the white? I don't know. But it's set till tomorrow night. Who feel the wrong? Who feel the right? Come and go. And all who feel the too bright, let me jump up, let me wind up, party non-stop. Ramage bingo lekekete, we come to play mass. Every creed and class, don't let nothing pass. Like a repetitive, all the love inside away.
First woman Prime Minister, first woman Attorney General, first woman to chair the Commonwealth of 54 nations, first woman opposition leader. Welcome KPB Plus, solid everywhere.
Like a repetitive, all the love inside away.
Grandy, how are you feeling tonight? Good. I feel great to see so many of you. I want to thank you so much for coming out. I had a challenge this evening. You will hear it in my voice because I was getting a little runny nose and, you know, it's not COVID, just a little virus. So I had to make a decision. Do I go up to Grandy or do I not go up to Grandy or do I go? And my husband said, he said, Kamla, you have to go. Them Grandy boys treat you good. So Team Grandy, our coordinator here, Joseph Tony, chairman of the corporation, Anil Jutaram, vice chairman, Kenwin Phillip, our other councillors, Calvin Sijaran, Anil Maraj, Kian, the alderman, Susan Holder, our alderman, and I saved the best for last, Councillor Nasser Hussain. And listen, put a fire under Nasser, because he must win that seat in this corporation in order to once more be in charge of this Toko Sani Grande Corporation. So we have our work cut out. And from what I saw on the screen, what I saw in the videos over the weekend, you all had a massive walkabout. Thanks to Deputy Leader JJ and the others who organized this walkabout. Tonight I want to thank the former speakers before me, of course Chairman Jutaram and Vice Chair Kenwin, but let us also recognize our other speakers. Senator Damian Lyder, thank you very much. Coordinator Joe Tony, and of course, our own DPL, Jalen John. So please give them a round of applause. And thanks to all of you who have joined us here tonight. So bear with me, I will keep my voice as clear as I can with God's help. And let me share with you, as I said, I couldn't stay away, Councillor Meru. Really couldn't stay away from Grandy. And when I see so many of you here tonight, it was worth the 2-hour drive coming from Philippines to come up here to be with you. So thank you so much. Thank you. I want to take a moment to congratulate our Central MP, MP Arnold Ram. He did our first ever All Fours competition, UNC All Fours competition. 3-table All Fours competition held over the weekend. You know, I have never been to one of these things, but I went over the weekend. And I was amazed at the number of people who attended. I know the Grandy boys came down at some point. Some of you were there. Khadija was very involved in it as well. Let's give a round of applause to all the organizers. The teams came from every constituency, and at the end of the day, the teams, I'm told, who won, joint winners being Young Bloods from Couva North and Terminators from La Hokata Talparo. Give them congratulations. I want to acknowledge the work of the committee. I say it's the first ever, so it means we will continue because it was so successful. Again, I want to thank MP Ram, who coordinated, DPL Lee, Vice Chairman Amin, Women's Affairs Officer Kenya Charles, International Affairs Officer Nicholas Morris, Brian Baig, Roshan Baba, Ganesh Keshan, Howard and Rishma, and special thanks to the staff of Caroni Central and of course St. Augustine, who provided food and Caroni. So let's say thanks to them. When I arrived at the venue on Saturday night, I thought it was like a congress. The hall was filled and overflowing, and everybody was having a good time. So take note, when I say save the date, we shall have another one very soon. And the good thing about that, it cost us no money. We got the prize monies donated, and then the registration money, so it helps the party to raise some funds. So maybe you all can think in other constituencies to do a similar exercise. I think it was well worth it. So again, thanks to that team. So great to be here in Grandy. But I know when I was doing the research, we were doing the research, we know, like the rest of the country, you're feeling the pain of having the PNM government running our country. Running the country, or you could say ruining our country, this PNM government. And right here, the same issues you have. You're held by the PNM, but you're neglected. Is that true or not true? Totally neglected in Tokosani Grandi. Just this weekend, we saw this area is reeling from an upsurge in crime with gang warfare, murders and robberies. And of course, the road situation is not much better, and I'll come to that in a minute. So did I say good night to my UNC family? I got so busy to get into the text. Good night, UNC family. Good night, UNC friends. My parliamentarian, I see MP for Mayaro. I saw him a short while ago. Rushton Pare was here when I arrived. Yes, there he is. Good night. And I think his lovely wife is here. Good night to him. MP Padarat, MP Khadija Amin, and all the other MPs and councillors who are here. Huh? Yes, it's UNC family. Where is he? MP Dinesh Rambali, welcome him as well. And Taka, our chief economist at the opposition office, and all of you, friends and family. Time will not permit all the names. But let's thank those who made an effort. Our senator from time to time is also here. Thank you for joining us. PRO, our youth arm chairman, Daniel, blah, blah, blah. Everybody, welcome, and thank you so much. So, over the weekend, as I said, we saw the news headlines with the crime, the surge in crime and the lawlessness, the murders, the gang warfare, the robbery. And this situation is, across the board, across the country. And this government remains clueless. They simply do not want to act to bring crime down. I know you're facing the challenges of bad roads, lack of water, like so many other areas in our great land, our great nation. So we can sit and cry, or we can say, listen, we have to do something about it. We have to unite, we have to get together, we have to join and get rid of the PNM. We have to get rid of them legally. So whenever the election is called, it's a wipeout, legally wipeout of the PNM, whether it be the local elections or general. We cannot allow this to continue. So don't think it's just for us to come on a platform and talk on a Monday night or do press conferences. You are so important. You have to do your part as well. And therefore, as the teams go on their walkabouts, sign up. Sign up, say you're willing to help. Sign up, say you're willing to come out to walkabout. You're willing to register. Look, we have to get the young ones registered, There's a whole cadre of young people who will turn 18, who have already turned 18, and they are not registered to vote. So if you're here as a parent, a brother or sister, make sure be registered, the young ones. So if you don't have a ticket, they say, you do not have a chance. How many people bought the lotto over the last week because of the massive prize, but somebody won it. So if you do not get people registered, then the chances are lesser. So I urge you, we are on the march to victory. We are on the road to victory. Make sure and join us. As a good song tells us, when the roll is called up yonder, make sure that you are part of that Team UNC to go into victory. My friends, Some of you may recall we had a great MP in Tokosani Grande, Dr. Rupert Griffith, the late Dr. Rupert Griffith. He's now passed away to the wild beyond or the grave beyond. And we have a track record that he helped us to do things here in Grande together with others. The government I led, we brought much needed attention and resources to Tokosani Grande to improve the lives of people here. We paved roads. You all remember that? We constructed box drains in Guayco, in Coal Mine, in Toco, Valencia, Vega de Oroput, Sandy Grande, and many other areas in this constituency. I remember when we were opening that Valencia bypass road, and I always make this joke, the later Rupert Griffith and I shared this joke. Rupert was telling me, he said, "Leader, Prime Minister, we have to do this Valencia bypass road." I said, "Boy, nobody lives there. It's just like you're driving through a forest, nobody lives there." And he insisted, and you must thank late MP Rupert Griffith, he insisted for us to do that Valencia bypass road. And today you could bypass all that traffic, you know. You can reach up here faster. So thanks to Rupert, and of course, thanks to the UNC-led government 2010, 2015. So we did roads, we did box drains. We upgraded recreation grounds in Grand River, in North Oropouche, Sangre Chiquito, Sani Grande, Toco, Northeastern Community Center, so we could give our youth safe spaces for sport and social activities. So a lot of work done. And you know, I keep telling people when I'm speaking, sometimes we forget our memories, we forget what we did. But we have to remember what we did, because it means we have the track record. It means we can do it again to improve the quality of life. We started work on the Grande Hospital to ensure that modern health facilities become available to service the community here. We promoted tourism in the area by refurbishing the Toco Lighthouse and constructing the Valencia Visitor Center. What is the status of that visitor center now? PNM come, close it down. They are very good at closing down everything that is done for benefit of people. I'm now going to talk about the COSTAT. We improve education by providing opportunities at COSTAT, the Technical and Training Center, the OJT Center, to give job creation and training for young people. The chairman is now telling me they've shut down the COSTAT campus as well. Close it down. Shame, you're right, Damien, shame. So everything for benefit for people, shut down. Give up, shut down. We improved utilities delivery with the Wassa CSR Center. Did they close that down too? Can't see. We completed, as I said, the Valencia bypass road. We created thousands of jobs. We decentralized government services, all to the benefit of you here in this constituency. And I say again, we have the track record, we will do it again. When you return the UNC to office, we will continue to work with you and for you. But I think a major task, which everyone will acknowledge, is that we have to work. The first thing we have to do is to bring down the high cost of living. There's no denying that the cost of living has escalated under this wicked government. I know you are severely impacted. Across the board, prices have increased. New taxes introduced. Government seems focused on collecting money through fines, making money through fining people. I know in this region you are severely impacted by price increases as you are further away from ports and distribution centers. However, the government claims nothing has gone up. We had a debate in Parliament. MP Vandana brought a motion about high food prices, escalating cost of living in the country. And these jokers get up in the Parliament to say nothing going up. Everything is fine. Where are they living? On Mars? Where are they living? On the moon? Every person in this country knows that food prices have gone up. The cost of fuel has gone up. Rentals have gone up. Interest rates on mortgages, everything has gone up. And they will sit down in Parliament and come there to really take everybody for a fool. For them, all the population, we are fools. They're the only smart, bright people in the country to try to hoodwink us again, to say, hey, nothing going up, let us play. They claim prices have not gone up. From the minute the PNM enters office, we always get new taxes. You know, we created over 50,000 jobs under the government I led, the UNC-led government. Over 50,000 new jobs. And we did that without increasing a single tax. In all the years we were there, not a single tax was increased. But this government comes now, squeezing money and even more money out of citizens who are already suffering. Increasing fees, reviving old taxes. Now, as Barry has been leading that charge, the electricity rate increases. Next, the water rate increases will come too. The property tax as well. Barry just reminded me in my budget statement, which year was it? Last year in the budget statement, I talked about over several thousands of persons, 4,000 I believe, WASA workers will be sent home. They say, no, not true, not true. Now that WASA has sent its proposals to the IRC, it's coming down the road. So in addition to all the new taxes and the fines, they're also sending home more people. I saw today Digicel is sending home 126 people. So the rate of joblessness keeps increasing under this government. From CSO data, NIB data, we have over 65,000 people lost jobs since the PNM came into office. And they've created not, as I said, a single new job for anyone. So no jobs, prices increasing. And you know what it means for your pocket to feed your families and take care of your families. You remember they brought a tire tax. Don't forget, you know, they brought earlier o'clock a tire tax. Then what they do again? They brought an online tax. Then they did a luxury tax. Then this luxury tax wasn't really for luxury, it was for apples and grapes. A luxury tax. Them fellas eating them thing every day. You know, we have one MP stand up and say there's no shortage of groceries in Tobago because I'm getting my almond milk. You all know what almond milk is? Nobody's answering me. Does anybody know what that is? That is a luxury item. But no concern about the groceries not reaching Tobago because I get an almond milk. Who was that, Barry? Kadisha? Oh yes, the lady, the Roman Shamfa. That's the MP. So they're in a different level, in a different world. When we look at the widespread joblessness, we get upset because while we suffer, government and eat our food few. They're raking in millions for doing absolutely nothing. So I said we move that motion in the parliament. The minister actually stood up and said that things are cheaper now than 2015. You believe that? You hear a lie? That is a big lie. In addition, they're hounding young people to pay fines for COVID, fines for vehicles, fines for vending, fine, because they don't know how to make money. Except when it's to fill their own pockets. They cannot create revenue streams for this country to create jobs. We don't have a good road, but you're finding everybody for everything regarding vehicles usage. So I call on government to stop abusing people in this country. But remember, this is how dictators operate. This rowdy government is a dictator government. When faced with lessening revenues due to their incompetence, they begin to extract money from citizens, and of course they blame everybody except themselves. Total blame game. In the debate on last day in Parliament on the private member's motion from MP Vandana, they started off by saying, okay, things bad around the world. So they first start saying, blame the world. But before they blame the world, they blame Kamla and the UNC. So they start off blaming Kamla and the UNC, then they went to blame the world, and they come back to blame Kamla and the UNC. A total blame game on the part of this wicked, incompetent government. They abuse and they blame everyone, and we have seen all this from this dictator government with Rowley. I know my colleague DPL John spoke about the puppet president. Now I see a new narrative being created that when the UNC does not attend something that they have, what they say? They say we are unpatriotic. So patriotic to them means attending to their functions and sit down and grin and clap. I'm not going to be that kind of person. I will not be that person. And we will not be that. That is hypocrisy of the highest order. And they will say it more and more as we go down because they have nothing to say. So we don't attend their sham functions. And what is it? On patriotic. UNC on patriotic. I think JJ dealt with them nicely on this issue with the some fake women's group they want to set up. Imagine that puppet president says, put aside spites and grudges. And yet in her first speech, that's her first speech, put aside spites and grudges. And in her first speech in the Parliament caucus with the supposed women's group, what she was doing? Crying crocodile tears about spites and grudges, saying she and Miss Bridget, how people abuse them as women and so on, and nobody said anything. Hey, where you living, woman? How many times have they denigrated me, attacked me, viciously attacked me? Did I go on a platform to cry? No, I am not afraid of any of them. I will continue to fight for you and fight with you. I'm not afraid. My parents taught me, I'm sure your parents taught you, stick and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. So I'm yap. We are on to bigger business and better business. So in that inauguration, the puppet president says, forget past spites and grudges. In her second speech as a contrived women's caucus, she complains about past spites and grudges. And then she forgot about her own bias and deplorable behavior as Senate President. Damien, you remember that as a senator. JJ, you remember that, her behavior as Senate President. She forgets the behavior of her own leader. Let me rank Kangaloo and the hypocrites in that contrived women's caucus of the behavior of their own leader. I want you to look at this video, please.
Well, on behalf of all the dignified people of our constituencies, we say to Kamla, go to where the monkey put the nuts. And they want to know why we have not diversified the economy. Just ginger a man, get on my face. I choose my word very carefully. You could behave as an effective opposition leader. I think the country is better for that. But geometry is not really the way to deal with these things. Kamla Persad Bissessar and the UNC go and put that bill where the monkey put the nuts. Take it in the pooch. And a girl forcing like a woman. You gotta do me every day. And then that, you call on the Prime Minister to do something about crime. I'm not in your bedroom, I'm not in your choice of men. That is tantamount to hugging up a porcupine to go to bed. Because I will tell you that she will do what she does all around. And she can jump high, she can jump low, she can drink this, she can drink that, she can back in the jump, you know very much she just. And you will see government ministers who came into office looking like Miss Howard Chat. It's just shut your mouth and let you learn to be mistrust.
I know this sound is a little distorted, but it's the most disgusting and nasty comments. And this lady, puppet president, comes to talk about who bad talk her. Come to set up a women's group to do what? Set up a women's group, have a caucus, and no opposition member. Other parliaments where these things take place, you have an opposition representative, you have a government representative, and where you have an independent bed, you have independent. They create this whole women's caucus to do what? Leave out the opposition. Have the puppet president speaking. Have an independent senator speaking. But no one from the opposition was asked to speak. So what is this group about? This group is, no, just sham. They're smart in a foolish way. This group is set up to defend the PNM. Not to defend the rights of women in Trinidad and Tobago, but to defend the PNM. From their comments, that was very clear from the statements made. So yes, it's a sham women's group. It is another arm of the PNM propaganda to come to attack everybody else except the PNM. So don't get trouble and fool. And next time you see an unpatriotic UNC, I am proud I am a patriotic UNC committed to Trinidad and Tobago, as we all are. So to women here, don't look for sympathy and patronage. You must work hard. You must educate yourself continuously as you will your children. You must earn your livelihood, but you have to balance it with a happy family life. You must always seek balance. You can have a successful career, get married, and have a family. If you don't earn your way through hard work and merit, but only rise through patronage, then no one will respect you. Remember, I always tell you, women hold up half the sky. The men hold up the other half. And I always say, together, we have to work together. So don't set up a JJ, call it a sham women's caucus in the parliament. We will deal with them in due course. Again. The other issue that has been in the news is this whole issue with the DPP. And I see the whole machinations that went on with this was a plan by the Rowley government, a failed plan to bait the DPP. You've heard us speaking out on it. You've heard others speaking on it. It was a very bizarre episode last week where Rowley held what he called a media briefing. And in fact, it was more like a media bashing. I mean, that's what he does. Blame everybody, blame the media. He called the media to tell the nation that this crisis we are facing, where the office of the DPP is under very blatant and nefarious attack by the PNM, Prime Minister says, that's not really happening, you know. No, nobody attacking the DPP. He failed to answer the very serious questions regarding the DPP's office and the impact on the criminal justice system. He deflected, as usual. He ducked, he hid, he pulled all kinds of acrobatics. But what happened? He failed to answer the important questions in this matter. Surrounding himself and attacks he continues to launch against the DPP. Tonight, I want to tell you what their real plan was. Their real plan was to bait the DPP into responding to their unwarranted attacks. The Prime Minister, the AG, the Chief Justice. They were hoping that DPP Gaspard would respond in an injudicious manner. Come on like a wajang like Rowley and get on bad. The man didn't do that. They would then get their puppet president to action an investigation to Gaspard for his comments, if he had made them, and proceed to suspend him. Now remember, whilst he's suspended for investigation, they can then appoint a puppet DPP of their choice. The Prime Minister has the veto of the person chosen as DPP and to act as DPP. So that was the plan, but it backfired. It backfired on them. They would then have replaced this DPP with their puppet DPP. That was the plan, because many of their members are under active investigations both in Trinidad and Tobago and abroad. This was a big plan, but the DPP didn't take the bait. He didn't swallow that bait at all, and Rowley is afraid of anything that he does not control, that is independent of him. He must have total control. He cannot backtrack on his attack on the DPP. He and his AG should apologize to the DPP, and I call on the Prime Minister and the AG to apologize to DPP Gaspard. I call him out. The Prime Minister lies about not criticizing the DPP, but at the same time, he wants to reopen cases DPP has closed. That's what he wants to do. This is political witch hunting. The government cannot decide whom to investigate, whom not to investigate. That is totally ultra-vires our Constitution. And so, Rowley is deflecting from his government failure to do a security evaluation. What is this big issue about? They said they paid millions for a building. So why didn't you do the security evaluation before you rented the building? Before you spent 3 years of rents? Why no security evaluation? And therefore the Prime Minister has to answer. Out of the security concern, did they find out how many security issues have been addressed. No. You just run out there to attack and bait the DPP. And on top of all of this, I think they're very afraid of Nelson Gate. That Nelson Gate is one of the biggest scandals that ever took place in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. So they're desperately trying to deflect from Nelson Gate. When I raised it, Rowley said, talk about Nelson Gate. I want you to look at this video clip. Before we get it, I'll tell you this. First, Rowley said this man was a hero. Nelson QC and now KC, King's Counsel, he was a hero. And the next time Rowley talked, he was zero. Nelson was zero. Please, let's look at the video clip.
You know who Nelson is? Nelson is a British Queen's Counsel. No ordinary person, a British Queen's Counsel. Talking about Nelson, as though Nelson is some hero in Trinidad and Tobago. I want to tell the opposition leader, Vincent Nelson is no hero in this country, so stop talking about Nelson Gate. Vincent Nelson is a Jamaican Englishman who came to Trinidad and Tobago for reasons best known to him. You know who Nelson is? Nelson is a British Queen's Counsel. No ordinary person, a British Queen's Counsel. You know, it's one thing to talk stupidness, but if you're talking to people who will see stupidness, then you feel stupid.
Praising Mr. Nelson, British Queen's Counsel, as I said. And when things start to unravel, when the truth starts to come out about the deal Faris made with Nelson, Nelson, as I said, has become zero. So we'll hear more about this, you know. This is not some random man in Citygate brain, but it's the Prime Minister who is charged with solving the issues before our nation. So more about that, Nelson Gate, we'll talk about it further. On my last meeting, I talked about the 11 promises Faris made to Nelson in a signed document. And if that is not witness tampering, then nothing else is witness tampering. Where Faris signed this document saying he will get a presidential pardon for Nelson if Nelson comes forward and spill the beans and say nasty things about UNC members. Signed on the dotted line, Faris. Promised him presidential pardon. Promised him money to pay him money. 11 promises, which Faris had no legal authority to sign for, but stupid man, he signed it. Stupid dunce. We always said that. Stupid person. And the irony is, the same people who helped Faris write up that indemnity agreement, the same lawyers now defending the case Nelson brought in the court, defending the same indemnity agreement to say it's not valid. I mean, you ever see that the lawyer tell you, hey, sign this, good thing, go, 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 go. And then Nelson file in the court. Them same lawyers come in to say, no, this is invalid, it is illegal. Again, dotish people taking care of the affairs of Trinidad and Tobago. And they still kicks in Parliament. That's what they do. They have no sense of reality or benefit to people. So government, through the AG, trying to get Nelson Gate files, I'm told, and I'm asking it tonight. The Nelson Gate files into the investigation of the two, Ramdeen and Ram Logan, rests in the office of the DPP. The DPP could just continue the cases because there was no sufficient evidence to secure conviction. I am now told that the office of the AG is hounding down the office of the DPP to get those files out of the office of the DPP. Joe, you are a lawyer. You know that can't happen. The DPP's office is for criminal matters. Why is the AG's office hounding down the office of the DPP to get these files? Why? Again, you're up to no good. Again, operating illegally. So I asked the office of the AG, are you trying to access the files out of the DPP's office? We see as well, I have a cabinet note I would like you to put up. $66 million cabinet note. There it is, ratification of approval granted by the Honorable Prime Minister for the engagement of English law firms to provide professional services to the TTPS. Ratification of approval of $66 million. What does it mean? First of all, it means the Prime Minister made a decision on his own. He took a unilateral decision. $66 million for the TTPS to hire English law firms, lawyers. And then he took it to the cabinet. Will the cabinet say, yes, rubber stamp, here we agree. So Prime Minister took this decision. And what it was is to create a private army of lawyers in the TTPS to prosecute whom the Prime Minister wants, to investigate whom the Prime Minister wants. This again is a serious contravention of our Constitution. So as we close, I intend to speak a bit about that Mayara Road, but I think JJ, did you speak about the road and the collapse? Damien did, so I will leave it alone for now. And I want to thank you for your attention. As I said, I'm a bit under the weather, so forgive me if I close tonight by wishing you all God's blessings and thanking you for being here. God bless. UNC is on the road to victory. Join us on that road to victory. I thank you very much.
Bring down the power, I say. Bring down the power. The power, I say, is the greatest power. Stop hell and damnation. Bring down the power. Love to heal a nation is the greatest power.
It's MC Biggs. Big.